Hi writers, welcome back to my channel where I share writing tips, my creative journey, as well as writing inspiration. So today we're continuing on with my series on how to prepare for NaNoWriMo. So this NaNoWriMo series in order to help you prepare and inspire you to participate in NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, and it happens every November and it's free to join. And if you have a story in you, no matter how many words you want to write, if it's 0 or the 50,000 words for the challenge, you can join and write in. So if you don't know what NaNoWriMo is, and if you want to know why my benefits for joining NaNoWriMo, you can watch my previous video. I'm going to link it down below, and for now we're going to continue with this video. So today's video is my how to prepare for NaNoWriMo video, and I have 8 tips here that I use and that are my favorite tips, but it's not limited to these 8 tips as to what to do to prepare for NaNoWriMo. I just also want to let you guys know, if you want to prepare even more in depth, there is a free checklist that I've created for you to download down in the description box. So I'm going to leave that there. You can download it. It's a preptober checklist, and you just can print it and check it as you go along preptober. But enough of that, and let's dive right into my tips. So my first and foremost #1 tip to prepare for NaNoWriMo is literally to outline your novel. Now listen to me before you click off this video and say, I don't do outlines, I don't care about that. If you don't want to do an outline, and if you don't want to help yourself through an outline, at least flesh out some of your characters, your main scenes, your main ideas, your main themes, anything that you really want to write about. Just make sure that you're taking that content from your brain outside of your brain and onto the page so you can see it and even develop it more, because I know that outlining is not for everyone. I don't outline for every single novel, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I outline middle of the way through, sometimes I outline from the beginning, sometimes I hardly outline at all. That's mostly when I start to write more like nonfiction stuff, because I already know what I'm talking about. But I think that there is a lot of value into having an outline, even if it's a loosey-goosey outline, even if it's just an outline of your characters, like character arcs, or of the setting or the mood or anything like that, of the themes. If you want to explore, like say your character has a mental illness or a physical disability, maybe you want to do research, so it's not really outlining, but it can be part of it, so you can know in depth and not be stuck while you're writing. So that's the whole purpose of outlining, is to not be stuck while you're writing and you're going through the writing process, because it can be very easy to write the first 5,000, 10,000 words and then get really stuck with your story, not know what's happening with your characters, not know where the story is going, what is happening, how it's gonna end, what's gonna be the next big thing, and how to resolve the next big thing. So I think having even the loosest outline, even an outline of 1 to 3 pages, might actually really help you. So here is what I would include in the outline. First of all, I would include character arcs and character growth, as well as character description. I would include the main plot lines and the main subplot lines, so the subplots basically. So if there's 3 main points of the story, and then there's little points in between as to like how we get through that hurdle, or like kind of like the writer's journey, then I would definitely write those down to make sure I don't forget, or to physically and visually see it and be like, okay, this makes sense, or this does not make sense, I need to tweak this before I start writing. If you're not really a plot person and the story is not really plot heavy and it's more character heavy, then what I would recommend instead is to plot some of your scenes, so your main scenes, because even if it's a character study, even if it's a book with no plot, you still have scenes going on, you still have things happening, you still have your character to think about. So it could be like a small scene, like say your character is severely depressed and hasn't left the house, then you have one scene where probably they're reflecting on their childhood, another scene where they're reflecting on why they can't leave the bed, or a third scene where they actually make it to the washroom for once. You know what I mean? Like, so every little scene counts, so it's good to have this habit of developing scenes, because every scene matters. There isn't supposed to be a scene in your novel if it doesn't matter. So that's the whole point of actually outlining certain things and having certain things that, first of all, you don't want to miss, you want to have it included, you don't want to get stuck, and also you don't want to have extra scenes or extra plot that you don't need when you're writing during NaNoWriMo. So my second tip is to create your space, create your environment, your work environment, your study, whatever it is if you're gonna write from the car, because this is something that might happen to me this year because I am driving as a part-time job. So I might have to like somehow make the experience of writing in the car more romanticized, more, you know, in tune with my writing habits. So yeah, I think it's very important to have an environment that you can work with. I don't think it's the end all be all of writing, because at the end of the day, if you want to write, you'll find anywhere, anytime, anything to write on. So you will, you know, you can be like writing underneath the sofa or something if you fit in there, who knows. But what I mean is that if you have a more inviting space or a space that's your own, you're more likely to, you know, deliver yourself to that space and start writing and be good with writing. So when I say to create your space, some people cannot work in mess, so maybe take that time beforehand to clear your desk, make it clean, make it neat, take off stuff that like can distract you. So like say like that book that you've been always wanting to read, perhaps it's a good time to like hide that book so you don't like end up like writing 100 words, see that book, get distracted and be like, oh, let me take a peek in this book, and then like 2 hours have gone by and you're like reading someone else's story and you're not telling your own story. So yeah, make sure you have a ideal workspace for you, and that could be anything. Some people like to light candles, some people like to have post-its or their plots in front of them, or you can like the simplistic or the clean life or nothing there, or you know, you're just in a cubicle, or sometimes you like to be next to an open window. I just switched my desk from the middle of the room. It used to be here and now it's towards the window, so like that when I'm writing I can look out the window and don't feel like so confined. So yes, it could be anything that you want. Just try to create some kind of space of your own where you know that every day when you sit down and write for NaNoWriMo, this is your space to create. Because honestly, it could also be that the space that you normally use to work, say if you work from home like I do, maybe that space is not going to do it for you. Maybe you need to sit on the sofa, maybe you need to sit on your bed. If that is what helps you or what gets you going, by all means, you don't need to have a desk. So yeah, just make it like as romanticized, as easy, as, you know, neat, and as whatever works for you as possible. My third tip is to collect songs for your scenes. Now this tip can seem like kind of weird, like especially like if you're not really like music heavy or you can't write with music, this tip might not be for you. However, I know I'm not the only one. I know there's a big niche of people out there that like to write with music, or you know, that like to like match their music to their scenes or match their like playlist to the book that they're writing. So like say if you're writing like high fantasy, maybe you're gonna listen to like all these movie soundtrack or the Game of Thrones soundtrack, or if you're like writing like sad books, you might be listening to like sad piano instrumental music. Dystopian, you might be listening to more like rock songs, or you know what I mean, like heavy metal. I don't know, but I think that writing with music can help you inspire your writing, and it can help you get through certain hurdles, as long as you're not like breaking down in like dance mode while you're listening to music. So I think it's a really good tip to like collect certain type of music that you want to write to during your novel. Because the reason why I say this, it's like the same thing when you work out to certain type of music. It gets you into that mindset. So there are songs, when I hear them, I'm like, oh, this reminds me of my novel. So I start daydreaming and thinking about this type of novel. So it's a really good way to ease yourself back into your story or back into that mindset. So that's why I say you should start like collecting songs or building a playlist in correspondence with your scenes or the novel that you're writing in the future, so it could be easier for you when you sit down and write. And if you can't write while you're listening to music, maybe these songs are good for you to listen to on your walk, on your drive to work, whatever, to get you into that writing mindset, to get you back into the mindset. Even though you can't write to the music, at least it could inspire you in some way, shape, or form. My fourth tip is to plan the month of November out, because when it comes to November, you're gonna be surprised, you're gonna be hit with so many things that you didn't anticipate, and so might be behind writing, you might like lose sleep, catch up on sleep. I don't know what it is. You might be really struggling with fitting writing into your routine. So it's good to already know what's coming ahead. If November, if you're like a university student and you know that November, the big deadlines for big essays are coming up or whatever, you can, you know, work around it, make a set schedule for yourself. Decide that maybe you want to write in the morning, write at night, write before, you know, you do anything else. So I think it's really important that you plan your November out and, you know, to be as preventative as possible so you don't miss any writing days. And if you know there's a day or two or a few days that you might be missing, at least you can plan out for the days before and afterwards to increase your word count and increase the time you spend writing so you can actually complete the 50,000 word challenge. So yeah, don't be afraid to plan, to move things around, or even cancel certain events or certain gatherings or certain things that you would normally do to prioritize writing for that month, because that's kind of the point of prioritizing writing and writing your novel in 30 days. It's like you need to make some sacrifices. So if you don't want to sacrifice sleep, or if you don't want to sacrifice fun time or TV time or whatever, you might have to sacrifice other things or other, you know, events or social engagements. So if you have work, if you have school, if you have both, it can get really hard and hectic to try to write 1,667 words a day. So really you need to see if you have to break up the writing, if you can spend 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night. Like I said, you really need to see what works for you and what you think you can be able to do in order to accomplish the goal. Plus, another thing you can do for, you know, making November easier for you, you can even spend a week before November meal prepping, freezing food, so you have less time cooking and more time writing for November. Or, you know, maybe you even want to take out more in the month of November, so you need to like prepare for that. So you need to save some money this month for the next month, or you need to be ready to save money in December to make up for November, vice versa. There's so many ways you can go about this planning of the month of November, and it all depends on you, on what you can take on what you can do, and what you can sacrifice. So that's always a tip that I always recommend following as well. My fifth tip is to have a word tracker. So a tracker where you can track how much words you're writing and how much progress you're making every single day. I would even go as far as, you know, figuring out what is your normal typical average words per minute. So say like if you write for half an hour, do you write 500 words, 100 words, 1,000 words? Does it depend on the day? Does it depend on the story or how far you are in the story? Could be, but it's good to keep track of how many words you're writing in a day, because how else do you want to complete the challenge? And also it helps you keep accountable. It helps you, you know, figure out if you're gonna have to write more or less on some other days to balance out and reach that 50,000 words, because you don't want to end up with a day where you need to like write 10,000 words in order to win NaNoWriMo. It's possible, it's doable, but it's really hard, and I don't think anyone in their right mind should be doing that and stressing themselves to that point, because writing should still be enjoyable. Okay, a challenge is a challenge, but you can't take anything too far in life, because then you're gonna regret it. So I know that they have a good word tracker on the NaNoWriMo website, and I know that they've been updating it every single year, so it gets even more and more better every year to use. But you also have other websites that you can use. You can use mywriteclub.com. I think that's the name of that website. I will confirm down below or down on the screen right here. But I did used to use my Write Club a lot to see the graph of my word count and my word tracker. But I also, right now, I mostly use Notion, and I make my own word grid, word tracker, monthly tracker on Notion. So Notion is, again, another free website you can use. So I'll link all those websites down below for you to check. My seventh tip is to create your survival kit. Actually, the survival kit is my favorite tip, because it's my favorite thing to do every year, because I feel like I'm going for a marathon. I feel like I'm ready, I'm equipped, I'm, you know, like I'm doing something meaningful. So I really love making the survival kit, and every year it's pretty much the same freaking survival kit, but it's so exciting, and it's like an excuse to buy more stuff, more stationery, more snacks, more, you know, coffee, more treats. But yes, a survival kit could be anything from what you wear, what you use to write, what you use to get into the spirit. So maybe you need some music, so maybe you're gonna buy like a new album, or maybe you need some new candles so you can like, you know, smell good stuff while you're writing. Or maybe it's even like buying some little treats or rewards, or whatever it is. Your survival kit is something to carry you through the month of November while you're writing 50,000 words in 30 days. And I think survival kits are the best kits ever. I always remember to mention to people to don't forget their USB key in their survival kit, because the last thing you want, okay, to survive the month is that your Word document or any kind of document that you have crashes and you lose all that work. So you need to be able to back up every single day. But that's a thing that we're going to talk about in another video, and we're going to talk about my survival kit or my ideas of what you should have in your survival kit in a few videos from now. So stay tuned for that video, but I'm not going to get too much more in depth here. I just give you a little sneak peek, but you definitely need a survival kit. And my 8th and last tip for this video as to how to prepare for NaNoWriMo is to connect. Yes, connection is key. Not only internet connection, but actual online community connection. So it's good to make friends. It's good to make little friends online, on Twitter, on the NaNoWriMo website, anywhere you can. Just try to join the community. Look at the hashtag NaNoWriMo, hashtag NaNoWriMo 2022, writing buddies, writing community on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok now. TikTok is great too. I love when people do like write every day. I do that when I do NaNoWriMo. I do like little vlogs on me writing every day. I think I might be doing that on my TikTok this year as well. So keep an eye out. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and I don't know where else. My blog is still under development, but yes, you can follow me everywhere, where I'm gonna try to create my little space of this writing community of people joining NaNoWriMo and trying to inspire more people to join. So yes, I think it's a very important tip, and I think that you can't forget this tip, because the whole point and purpose of NaNoWriMo is to get people every year, thousands of people all around the world, to join in this fun creative activity of writing a book in a month. And so like, it's a very solitary act, and this is the first time where so many people are so excited and so many people are so focused on the act of writing and sharing stories and sharing a writing process and writing habits and routines. And it's very inspiring, and it's the best thing ever. And that's why I always join every single year, because it's the best. And you make so many friends just by, you know, going online and searching up hashtags or commenting or following, and I think that is amazing and invaluable. So if you want to join, you can also subscribe on my channel, and we can start something going on here as well. And don't forget as well, when you make your NaNoWriMo account, or when you go in your NaNoWriMo account, which is free as always, you also have the section tab of writing buddies. So I know that they updated this NaNoWriMo website a few years ago, and suddenly we all lost a lot of our writing buddies, but you can at least add people back now again. So I have an account. I'm gonna link it down below. You can become my writing buddy and see how much words and see how many words I'm writing per day. Encourage me, talk to me, whatever it is, you can do that. So yes, that's always a feature on NaNoWriMo as well. So I'm gonna leave my account down below. I want to hear back from you. Comment on this video, let me know if you're joining. Let's create a community. Maybe I'll create a Discord, and we can all, you know, chat there about our daily word counts or any hurdles we have during writing, and any like motivation, inspiration, quotes, whatever. So yeah, I think this is like the most important tip of all these tips on how to participate in National Novel Writing Month. So that's it. That's the end of my video on the 8 tips to follow for a successful participation in NaNoWriMo for November. If you have any tips of your own, please feel free to share them down below. Feel free to also talk about the novel that you would like to write for NaNoWriMo if you feel comfortable, or any concerns or worries or anything writing related. Feel free to always email me, to, you know, contact me, or to comment. As I said, you can follow me in many different places. It will be linked down below. And don't forget to download the preptober checklist so you can have that ready for you. It's a free resource that I created just for you, just to help you in preparing for NaNoWriMo. As always, everything linked down below. I will try to go outline some parts of my novel, because I thought that I wanted to start something new, but I think instead I'm just gonna finish one of my novels, or maybe a second one if there's enough words in the first one because I just really want to get them out there and I really want to edit them and have them completed before starting any other new projects. So I will keep you up to date around that time. I will make probably some weekly writing vlogs either way because I love making those. So for now, I'm going to go, maybe plot a little bit, and I'll see you on the next NaNoWriMo writing video. Okay, so keep writing and goodbye!
I guess you're back. Are you gonna tell me where you went? All the messages I sent with no reply. It's like that.